Welcome back to day 5 aboard our beautiful Alaskan cruise on the Norwegian Encore. Today we are sailing into Glacier Bay, and early this morning, as the sun was rising, the naturalists from the National Park Service boarded the cruise ship. Which, might I say, if you were up and awake early enough to see them board, that's quite a feat themselves. From what we were told, they have to leave their homes at 4 a.m. to make it to the boat to board our cruise ship by 7 a.m. Or at least that's just what they said overboard anyways. But I figured as we near Glacier Bay, I will give you guys some history and just a little tidbit of information that the National Park Service themselves provided in their own brochure. I think it's much more well-spoken than I could have done myself. So, Glacier Bay, a wilderness so remote, dynamic, and intact. And so as we arrive in Glacier Bay, a land reborn and a world returning to life, a living lesson in resilience. If we ever needed a place to intrigue and inspire us, to help us see all that's possible in nature and in ourselves, this is it. Glacier Bay is a homeland, a natural lab, a wilderness, a national park, a United Nations Biosphere Reserve, and a World Heritage Site. Definitely not a bad resume for a young land, a new sea. Just a mere 250 years ago, Glacier Bay was all glacier and no bay. A massive river of ice, roughly 100 miles long and thousands of feet deep, occupied the entire bay. Today, that glacier is now gone, having retreated far north. Fewer than a dozen smaller tidewater glaciers now remain. However impressive in themselves, sequestered at the heads of their inlets in the upper bay, they flow from tall coastal mountains to the sea, and calve great shards of ice that bejewel cold waters with diamond-like bergs. They are a witness to change, these rivers of ice. They invite us to slow down and breathe deeply of the cool ice age air, and to imagine, if only for a day, the way things used to be. Welcome to Glacier Bay. This is absolutely stunning. I have a feeling it looks quite different from when my dad was here many, many decades ago. This is, without a doubt, the most pure, crisp air I have breathed in my whole life. They were not kidding about the quality of that ice age air. Okay, so I believe we are currently coming up on Rendu or Re. Let's see. Okay, so we are currently in Glacier Bay. I think we're somewhere around the Queen Inlet or Rendu Inlet area. Soon coming up on the Grand Pacific Glacier. But our naturalist was saying that essentially during the fur trading days, the sea otters were almost wiped to near extinction due to the high price that their fur pellets fetched. And so now you can see a whole bunch of sea otters, but that was not the case even a couple decades ago. And I believe they're still a protected animal to my knowledge. But we're currently cruising up closer to the main glacier sighting, but for now I'm gonna leave you guys with that. There was so much wildlife everywhere you looked, and there were constantly otters just playing in the wake of the boat, or just honestly chilling on the side of the boat as well. So, if you're packing for Alaska, be sure you pack a pair of binoculars. It saved our butts so many times, and we even got to see some of the white mountain goats as well. And you definitely could not have seen that with your naked eye. This is just absolutely breathtaking. Well, it seems like we're not the only people yet. There we go. We have an uncruised boat coming by us right now. I think we're currently waiting our turn to turn the boat around so that this side of the boat can see the glacier. And if we're lucky, maybe we'll see the glacier calf just once. The color blue of this water is just so enchanting and enticing. It just feels entirely unreal. Like, I'm sure you probably looked at plenty of images of Alaska prior to coming here. And this will still blow every single expectation that you might have had out of the water. It is just so bright teal blue that you simply just have to experience it firsthand to truly understand the beauty of it. With all of that crisp air does also come some crisp temperatures as well. And so what I was trying to tell you guys is what I was first showing you was Grand Pacific Glacier. And then here is what we refer to as the star of the show, that being Marjorie Glacier. This is the one that we were mostly paying attention to, as you could see multiple calving events. We were so incredibly lucky. It felt like every single time that they turned the boat around that our side somehow got to see the glacier calf. I can't say the same for the other sides of the cruise ship, but if you are trying to enjoy the comforts of your balcony, I highly suggest you go grab yourself a warm cup of coffee, hot chocolate, a mix of the two, which is what I like to do. Maybe multiple cups, because you will burn through it. It was quite frigid considering we were there in May. May not be the same for you that attend later. But I would definitely just make sure you are set up to have a lovely, cozy morning. That way you don't have to miss a single moment while you are in Glacier Bay and getting a chance to view not only Grand Pacific Glacier, which is obviously a little bit farther back, but more importantly, the beautiful Marjorie Glacier. Look how far back. Oh my god. Did you see it? Supposedly if you get pretty close that you can like hear it really cracking. Like imagine like the crackle of a fire, but a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, it was like in between
Glacier Bay, baby.
but you just saw kind of drying up.
And to me, it was kind of interesting to see. If I can scrounge this up, I will include it here. But upon returning to Wi-Fi, my father had sent me a picture of him and my grandmother there a long time ago and just how vastly different it looks now. They were saying that the distance changes about 3 to 7 feet per hour at times. If you think about that, that is very, very drastic. I'm not sure if that was a misspoken amount. I feel like 3 to 7 feet per day seems a little bit more reasonable, but then again, I guess we all have heard about just how the climate's changing and ice melt and everything, so better get to Alaska while you can, because it very well may not look the same when you return. Okay, so this black looking rock is actually not a rock. It is part of the Grand Pacific Glacier, but it looks dark because it's been covered up by many rock slides. So despite the fact that we can't see over it per se, there is glacial ice underneath of it. Okay, so this is the one I was saying right here that you can't really see because it's cut up with rock slides, and the one that we've been staring at a whole bunch is Marjorie Glacier that we're about to come up on yet again. To actually hear the glacier make its little rumble for once. These birds chilling are cracking me up. Oh, I actually got a really good shot of like otters jumping up and down while you were asleep earlier. I can smell the hot chocolate and coffee. Look, look, look!
Oh, yeah, it's still dropping. Very cool. Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness. How did we get so lucky?
That was awesome.
Unfortunately, with all of the background noise of the various other cruisers, you can't actually get a great grasp of just how loud the sound of a glacier calving really is. Keeping in mind that we are still so far away and it sounds like it's right there next to your ear. You almost feel it in your whole body, if that makes sense. But I will say, I could have sat here for hours, more so than just the 3 that we had here, just watching and listening to the sounds of the glacier and the creaks and cracks and rumbles that it makes. As I kind of said earlier, I'd probably equate it to just the simple beauty and charm of a fireplace crackling, just in a different manner. It truly is something unique to get to witness. With the pure scope of just beauty and grandeur and larger-than-life landscape, had lots of thoughts and just emotions running through my head throughout our stay here. One of which being that it is just so humbling in a great way to be taking in landscape that is just ever-changing, was here long before you and will be here assumingly very long after you. This kind of puts you into perspective, your place on Earth, and I know that there is something called, I think, the blue water effect, and I would assume it takes place here as well, just that you are so small in comparison to the body of water that surrounds you. And also, blue is just a peaceful and calming color, all of which contributing to this sense of enlightenment, if you will. Okay, so apparently we are coming up on John Hopkins Inlet and close to Jaw Point to go see John Hopkins Glacier, but apparently after Jaw Point, no cruise ship, no marine vessel of any kind, including a kayak, is not allowed in there from the months of May to June because it is harbor seal breeding season, and so there's a bunch of seal pups being born that need the ice to stay alive because they don't have any protection from the killer whales. So, unfortunately, you are out of luck, regardless of who you are, if you wanted to go any closer to John Hopkins Glacier. And if you're a cruise ship, you're apparently banned from May all the way to September, so your chances of actually getting into John Hopkins by a cruise ship, I believe, are pretty much zero, because I don't know of any cruise ships that operate to here in Glacier Bay area outside of the May to September season. But I'm going to continue hanging out outside. It's too pretty not to. Yeah, the uncruise.
Yeah.
They're out here again, and they're on the freaking ground over there. So those little ice cube looking things are probably the size of a freaking car.
Yeah. Can you see all of them?
Twice as tall as they are.
Yeah.
They look like these little ice cubes.
Yeah. And they're even closer than it, so if the ice is even
Yeah,
bigger.
it's at least twice their fucking height. That's like a 10-foot tall piece of height.
And that concludes our time in Glacier Bay National Park. We ended up spending just the rest of our sea day enjoying all the amenities on board, visiting all the bars that we could, and as much as the entertainment as we could as well.